Hey everybody, it's Ricky Heller from rickyheller.com, and I'm here today to talk about one of my favorite kinds of foods, fermented foods. So you might have been curious about the title of this video and wondering about the yay or nay, because yay is spelled Y-E-A. Yes, it is. It's not Y-A-Y. That's just a little pet peeve of mine. But anyway, so yeah, we want to know yay as in yes or nay as in no for fermented foods, because you're going to hear lots of different things about fermented foods if you're on an anti-candida diet. A lot of the experts will tell you not to have fermented foods. One particular doctor says no fermented foods at all. One of the other experts who's very keen on fermented foods would say no wild fermented strains of yeast or bacteria to ferment your foods, so you only want to use culture starters that you can buy on her site. Other experts will say, yes, absolutely embrace fermented foods. They're wonderful for you. So the question is, why do we think that we can't have fermented foods on an anti-candida diet? And generally that advice came out because so many of the fermented foods until recent years were mass-produced, high sugar, vinegar fermentation, and which isn't true live, what they call live fermentation. There's nothing alive in that jar of pickles or sauerkraut that you buy on the shelf in the supermarket that doesn't have to be refrigerated, that has sugar added and vinegar to make it taste as if it's fermented. You don't want those. But a different kind of fermentation, which is traditional and has been around for centuries in all traditional societies, is lacto-fermentation. And the reason this is so great is because, well, fermentation is the process of microorganisms, so it can be bacteria, it can be yeast, that basically eat up the carbohydrates or starches in a food and convert them to alcohol or acids. So lacto-fermentation creates lactic acid, and that's the lactobacillus bacteria that create that fermentation for us. So lactobacillus is probably a familiar term with you if you're someone who is interested in health or candida, because that's one of the key probiotics that we're often told to take, and that you can find added to yogurts and other foods, and that you can find in supplements. And lactobacillus bacteria, those are probiotics, those are found on the earth in most fruits and vegetables that are grown, and they also naturally live in our digestive tracts. So the idea is if you're eating lacto-fermented foods that have lactobacillus in them, you're going to be helping to repopulate your gut bacteria. And one of the other experts, Natasha Campbell McBride, who is the creator of the GAPS diet, the gut endocrinology syndrome diet, she says that naturally fermented foods like lacto-fermented foods can have hundreds more times of probiotics than even the very best supplement. So you're going to get more in terms of numbers. You're going to get a greater variety of these probiotics in fermented foods. And they're also the kinds of bacteria that are naturally created to get past the stomach and into the gut. So they're more hardy than the ones often that you can have in supplements. So they're just naturally made for us to eat them. So when you look at the massive list of naturally fermented foods, there's a whole bunch of possibilities. Yogurt, kefir, which are often dairy products, those are great. You can also find many non-dairy forms of yogurt. Obviously, you're going to want that unsweetened. And then there are all the vegetable ferments. So things like naturally fermented sauerkraut, kosher dill pickles, beet kvass, which is, I hope it's pronounced kvass, which is a Russian drink that's made with beets. And I love this. They ferment the beets and then they throw away the beets and they just drink the liquid. So, and that's the same thing with sauerkraut juice and pickle juice. You can drink the liquid and you'll still have the benefit of the probiotics. In fact, Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride suggests that to a lot of people when they're first starting out for healing leaky gut and they can't handle the actual vegetables. She says you should just drink the juice. So those are some of the naturally fermented foods. And the beauty of lacto-fermented foods is they're very safe. It's very rare to have any issues with something like botulism or the kinds of things that you would get in other types of, canning or preserving. But also they're delicious and they're easy to make at home. So it's very economical to make your own sauerkraut, for instance. If you just buy an organic cabbage, what you're looking for are foods where there is no added vinegar, there is no added sugar, there are no added chemicals. So lacto-fermented sauerkraut is cabbage and salt and water sometimes. And that's it. So very, very easy to make at home. So personally, I'm a huge fan of lacto-fermented foods. I love them. I think they taste great. I try to make my own as much as I possibly can. And there's that whole variety. You can get all kinds of vegetables, sauerkraut, dill pickles, all kinds of things. Kimchi, which is Asian spicy sauerkraut, that's another form of lacto-fermented foods too. So I would suggest trying any or all. Eat them as much as you like. A great way to start is with just a tablespoon a day, and then you can build up to half a cup a day, half a cup a day, blah, blah, if you would like, in divided doses, if you think of it in terms of those medicinal properties of the probiotics in them. So, I try to have some in the morning and some in the evening meal or lunch and dinner, something like that. I also eat sauerkraut as a snack. I just love it. So that's what I would suggest. Start slowly and build up. And I hope that you enjoy those lacto-fermented foods. If you do, and then you're looking for even more things you can do with, say, the leftover juice, I have a great post on my blog with 10 ways to use leftover sauerkraut brine, or you could use pickle juice as well. So I'm going to leave a link for that down below. And if you're looking for more help ongoing with your candida recipes support, I hope you'll join us in the Sweet Life, which is a monthly club for people where you get recipes and you get live support from me and the most incredible group of people in this private Facebook group as well, where there's wonderful interactions and people offer support, ask questions, and basically just cheer each other on as they're working through the program. So I'll leave a link to that as well. So I hope this was useful. If you like this information, please do give it a thumbs up. But even more importantly, if you know anybody struggling with the Candida diet and having trouble sticking with it, looking for more support, or anybody who's just interested in improving their gut health with fermented foods, I hope you'll share this video with them too. All right, everyone, have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.